Hello, I'm Sydney.
And I'm Abby, and we're going to be talking about marking techniques for Steller sea lions.
To start, it's important to know a few things about Steller sea lions. They're large pinnipeds, aquatic fin-footed mammals that are members of family Otaridae, the eared seals. They're found along North Pacific coasts, from Japan through the Bering Sea and down through the Aleutian Islands into central California. They can also hunt in pelagic or open sea water. Some important things to note about Steller sea lions is that they can live a long time, between 20 and 30 years, and they undergo a yearly molt. The species is divided into two populations, and the western one is listed as endangered under the Endangered Species Act after the population underwent a large decline in the late 1900s. This status highlights the importance of conducting research on the species, and one of the techniques used in this research is marking.
Currently, hot branding is widely used to differentiate individual sea lions. The marks produced by this method are long-lasting and haven't shown major negative effects. That being said, hot branding has been subject to criticism from the public animal rights groups. This backlash has led to the suspension of the practice of hot branding for pinnipeds in Australia. The risk of research being interrupted from backlash from public opinion is something we'd like to avoid if it's possible, so we are evaluating marking techniques to determine an alternative for a long-lasting mark that does not raise public concern over the animal's welfare. The three options we've considered are freeze branding, whisker pattern ID, and implanted telemetry.
Freeze branding is accomplished by supercooling a branding iron, usually with liquid nitrogen, to destroy pigment-producing cells or melanocytes. When the animal's fur grows back, it will be white, as pictured here. This method is often considered more humane than hot branding, as the extreme cold should numb the area within a few seconds. This method, if done correctly, also doesn't produce an open wound with a chance of infection. Cons to this method include a failure to destroy the melanocytes, the waiting period for the mark to be visible, and possible damage to vascular tissue that can cause similar wounds to hot branding. In studies that have already been done, this method has had mixed success, but perhaps it could be improved with more research.
The second alternative is whisker pattern ID. This involves taking pictures of the sea lion's muzzles and using software to identify individuals based on the pattern of the spots where their whiskers grow from. The good thing about this method is that it's non-invasive and could be used with citizen science. The problem with this method is that the angle and the quality of the photos are very critical. This sometimes can't be achieved at the right angle, and it can't be done to a high enough standard to get the right identification. It also takes software to complete, so it can't be done in the field, and the study that was initially done with this method showed that it wasn't reliable to use in large populations.
The third method we looked into was implanted telemetry, since external telemetry has been known to detach with yearly molting. Essentially, very high frequency or satellite transmitters are surgically placed inside the animals, and the emitted signals are used to track and or identify individuals. Though decidedly more invasive than hot branding, the scars left behind are not as visible to the public, which we think would prevent backlash.
We'd like to mention a specific version that has been developed called an LHX tag. It stores data for multiple years until the animal's death. After the death, it exits the body, floats to the surface, and transmits the data that it's been storing. While this model wouldn't be useful in determining individual identities in real time, it would provide information related to the survival rates. This is what many marking studies seek to do anyways. The cons of this method are often based on the specific types of telemetry used, but include those listed here.
Though we know that hot branding is a long-used and relatively reliable method of marking Steller sea lions, if we were to choose an alternative to avoid public criticism while still being long-lasting, we'd recommend implanted telemetry. Due to the variety of options available and the security of being inside the animal, we think it's certainly worth considering, although the other options could also be useful with more time and research. Thank you for taking the time to watch our video and learn about marking Steller sea lions. If you have any questions, please leave them below in the comments.